Hey guys, it's Matho here once again, and sorry I haven't uploaded in a little bit. I was trying the little Gauntlet thing with some very meme builds because I wasn't going to take it competitively or very seriously, and I died a couple of times, and there wasn't really anything to post on YouTube. So this was a chain hook chieftain that just got dunked on in Act 6, even though I was building pretty defensively. Those things were just really scary. And then this is a Stormburst Hierophant that died to Dodri pretty unexpectedly. It was crushing ass up till that point. That build actually seems like it could be a fairly real build for the future though. In any case, the build and the video I wanted to showcase today is a full MTX Salesman Inquisitor cast on crit bow using Wave of Conviction and Purifying Flame. Inquisitor. So in this setup we do use bows for cast on crit as well as an Asenath's Helm, which casts a spell every time you use a bow attack, and as such we have two different Wave of Convictions and using the two new MTX for it. They're both pretty good. Haven't used Wave of Conviction in a while, thought I'd jump on that and give them both a test. So there's a Stygian one, that's the one that's going to be on the cast on crit, and then there's the Celestial one, that's the one in the helm that's basically guaranteed to come up whenever I attack, whereas the cast on crit is a bit more variable, but it's also up pretty much all of the time. As well as that, in my bow I've got Purifying Flame as part of a cast on crit setup, just so that we're utilizing two spells in the cast on crit, and as well as that we have a spell that's actually pretty good for clear, because constantly shitting out Wave of Convictions isn't that good since you reset their positioning every time you recast a new one, so it's not going to be amazing for clear unless you just let it ride out. But with cast on crit, that's not how that works. So we do have Purifying Flame. It does hit pretty hard, and it does the majority of our clear, especially from range. With this character, I've also decided to chuck in Eternity Shroud. Now, we haven't gone full Eternity Shroud memes, and by that I mean like conversion to conversion to conversion, because that's the most powerful way to utilize the Eternity Shroud. Start out as like lightning, go to cold, go to fire, and then you get additional damage based off of each previous type that was already converted. In this case, we don't convert anything, just use it for the 50 extra Elia's Chaos. Since getting Call of Brotherhoods is really tough, and the only reason I decided to do this is because you start out with a shaped bow, and then getting a shaped Asenath's Helm wasn't too hard. Just the default unupgraded base was like 40C or something, I believe, thanks to the card that gives you influenced uniques that's new this league. There's plenty of interesting shaped items out there, and that one was just pretty cheap, so snagged one of those, went a bit Eternity Shroud, and otherwise we are full Inquisitor. Trying to do plenty of damage, trying to build somewhat sustainably and a little bit thick. It is a bit of a challenge to get all of the stats in that we want, especially accuracy, while also maintaining good life, good energy shield, getting the crits, the crit multis. So it is a bit of a challenge, and it definitely does require some pretty well-rounded gear. Otherwise, I'm also trying to sustain a Righteous Fire, so as you can see, up till now at the moment there isn't any. On some boss fights I did start pressing it, and then you can also start pressing Vile Righteous Fire, but basically we are just equilibriuming with Righteous Fire. It doesn't really give us any regen on top of what we have, but we can maintain it. In any case, let me show you what the character looks like so far. So here's our current character, level 92, door-to-door MTX Salesman, door, Inquisitor, you know, that's how we like to call them, and we are an MTX Salesman because we're basically using all of the hot new MTX, specifically just for Wave of Conviction, that is. So unfortunately, Wave of Conviction does have exposure by default built into it, but we're not utilizing it at all as Inquisitor, so that feels a little bit weird, but doesn't really matter. It's a really hard-hitting skill that you know, can be used just about everywhere regardless. So like I said, here's a cast on crit bow setup. We've got Wave of Conviction and Purifying Flame in there, attached to Increased Area, Inspiration, Divergent Barrage. So Barrage is our skill of choice to proc things with, and then Hypothermia. And up in the helm, trigger a socketed spell when you attack with a bow, 0.3 second cooldown. We have Inspiration, Energy Leech, Control D, and Wave of Conviction. We've also got a 6-link over here that pretty much does nothing, serves no purpose, just attached some auras for reservation and stuff like that. As I said, full shaped, and the entire benefit is 5% Ellie as chaos per item, shape or item equipped. So then with all our items combined, it's like 50%, and then hits ignore enemy chaos res, and on top of the Inquisitor node, or elemental res, we then ignore both chaos and elemental damage, and something like an Atziri's Promise becomes pretty powerful. So the bow always starts out with the cast on crit built in, pretty powerful stuff, but you can go many different directions with these types of things. Basically, you can just grab some Shrieking Essence of Woes and just keep going until you get a cast on crit roll, and then you can finish it off in many different ways. Either physical damage extra cold, +2 supports just crafted on and use an empower. You can cannot roll attacks onto it and then exalt that last prefix and hopefully hit +1 socketed gems, 20% fizz as extra cold. You can hit penetration to elements, which wouldn't be good for specifically this character because we're an Inquisitor. Otherwise, you still really want attack speed, crit. In this case, I've also put on the Ashling mod of crit multi while unique or rare is nearby, which is nice, but it wasn't my ideal. I wanted either the attack speed or the crit on there, but this is good too. So it's pretty reliable crafting cast on crit bows, but they do take just a bit of little startup currency to get into a finished product. Otherwise, you can just go for some YOLO RNG or buy some cheaper ones off the market. Otherwise, yeah, what else we got? The rest of the gear, trying to fill out some accuracy, some, life and resist and stuff. Grabbed a shaped Stygian belt, put the resist catalysts on there. I think I used some essences and also just some prismatic fossils and some chaos spam, something like that. And you come across several belts like this. All we were really looking for was life, some resists. Got some energy shield recovery rate too, which is decent. Reusing some boots from before, just cooldown recovery on this one. Reusing my assassin mark ring, once again, just harvest craft these with caster mods and chances are you get something nice. Grabbed this one and I put something that actually might be a bit of an oversight, but they did change quivers to not be as spellcaster friendly anymore, but you can still use, I don't have any left at the moment, Scorn essences, and that'll give you global crit multi on your quiver. So I chucked a few Scorn essences on this, and I was aiming to try and hit Fizz's extra cold. Got a life roll, and ideally you have a spare suffix so that you can put crit chance and frenzy on crit, since that should be up pretty much most of the time with the amount that we crit and cast on crit. So something like that is nice. I went with a Awakening Orb on this guy, so grabbed a Redeemer and a Shaper mod of Fizz Extra Cold, Fizz Extra Lightning, smashed the two together, got a result. I mean, we like dexterity, but otherwise it didn't really hit anything, and I just put some resists on to finish myself off at the moment. But it's just an Awakener Orbed item for the time being. Yeah, then picked up this ring for, I don't know, 40C or something. Just grabbed it for some life, some strength, which in our case is also worth crit, and then some accuracy. We do need a lot of accuracy in the build. But yeah, the strength, as long as you are still trying to play catch up to your int, every point of strength is going to be worth a point of crit, thanks to this node over here. So that's how we can get a lot of crit on the tree without really speccing for it. And the tree besides that is kind of a bit spellcaster heavy. You're still trying to get a bit of generic crit. We do grab a Glorious Vanity just to turn this node into Corrupted Soul. That's where we get a large amount of our energy shield from. Went over here for the Fizz nodes. We use a Lionized Fall up here to convert these staff nodes and these staff nodes. Good bit of attack speed, good bit of crit, bit of area. We do go up here for a cluster. Our large cluster isn't very good, but the best we can do is something like Sadist, Widespread, Prismatic Heart, and then using some generic crit from the crit jewels to get Pressure points, double damage, a bit of attack movement speed, once again pressure points, and Unholy Might just for some Fizz's extra chaos, since we do benefit from chaos. Then grab Surging Vitalities. They help sustain our regen quite a bit, thanks to these nodes over here. That's going to apply to both life and energy shield. We do also uncomfortably move into a Volley Fire over here with Corrupted Blood immunity. They're pretty cheap. It does fill out a bunch of dexterity we need, but mostly it's just a real quality of life for your barrage. Maybe you can see it spread, so you can actually like get good map clear and cast on crit. That's barrage without the Volley Fire, so it's kind of specific. It's a little bit, you know, targety. You really have to hit things, whereas with that, you just spray wherever the fuck you want and you will cast on crit very nicely. Not much else to say about the passive tree, I don't think. Also grabbed a Watcher's Eye for Hatred, just for the crit, so that not having very high crit on our bow doesn't matter too much, since we got a bit more base crit that way. But yeah, my current reservation is Hatred. Where are we? Over here. Hatred, Herald of Ash, Herald of Purity. We're using Righteous Fire up here, and then Enlighten attached to those three. We then have Precision, Vitality, and Arrogance, just reserved on life, because I really do want the Vitality or the Righteous Firing, and I really do need a bit of extra accuracy from the Precision, so we are reserving a bit of life, unfortunately, but we got plenty to spare, and plenty of Energy Shield as well. Down here we have Flame Dash, Second Wind, and Arcane Surge, and Stone Golem survives a decent amount of the time. So as you can see, we can press Righteous Fire at the moment, and it won't really degen us much, but when we get hit, we're not regening too much. It is just mostly going to be based off of the Leech at that point, and also Surging Vitality. So it's a bit of a risky play. Throughout maps, you're better off not pressing it. It got an overkill of damage for maps anyway, but for boss fights, I think we'll probably utilize Righteous Fire in this sort of a setup, and it should pay off. We'll see how the end game boss fights go, but so far so good. Just a few little tests we've done. Hopefully it's a good character for that. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.